Oh no. Ah. I'm not crying. I've got soot in my eyes. Now we need to possibly use the rockets. No! Yes, yes, yes! 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 Yes, yes! Come on! No! No! Come on! No, 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 no! Ah! Oh, God damn it! Wait, we can do it! We can do it! We can do it! Oh! Oh! Why? Why? Why do you hate me? Oh! Oh! Oh no. I'm not crying.
It's the anti-checker.
We will return to your scheduled programming shortly, or we are currently experiencing technical difficulties.
Hello world.
I got him! Great kid! Don't get cocky!
Oh no, no, please, I don't want to go, I don't want to go, please, no, I don't want to go, no. Why would you do this to your fans, you heartless monster?
What Yes, I forgot to unmute the mic. I was so excited about defeating BIRDOPREY that I pulled a BIRDOPREY. God, I'd love it. So, that was Thomas's victory lap there, the #1. And I know people are still saying I'm mute because of the stupid delay. But any second now, you guys should hear my actual voice. All right. So, here we go. So anyway, Thomas was first, Rock Solid claimed first, and a quick second. Commander Shran third says hi. Mr. Miles says, I am the Alpha Wrench. Dan23 says, hey. Cinnabon says hi. Rock Solid says, son of a bitch. First unscribed then. Godspeed says, hey, Checker, you well, man? I'm hanging in there. I have a wonderful, just in the way of Auntie, I just realized. This is my new best friend. That I'm going to, I now officially have a walker, and I'm trying to come up with a way to decorate the walker. So I need ideas for what to do with the walker to make it a little more me. And let's see. 2 looks like, come on, let's see. 2 likes, come on, y'all, we can do better than that, absolutely. Rockstar says, remember, turn on the mic and camera. I should have read that because I didn't turn the mic on before streaming. Smash the like button, tickle the subscribe button, share via socials, donate if you can, join the Patron, and down with Karoga, which, of course, Karoga is definitely down. 47 Yorktown says, hello, fellow life forms, how you doing? Robert Smith says, worst pilot ever. If you're talking about BIRDOPREY, yes, indeed, he is. BIRDOPREY says, what the F is the point of a shield if you shoot right through it? You can't, actually, Bird. It took me a while to actually penetrate your shield. And I just you know, you could see actually at the beginning of that little intro, the first couple of shots, I was dead on target and did not do any damage. I had to, and that was after I'd been shooting your shield for a while. And you actually, your defenses did damage the ship I was attacking from, but fortunately I was able to keep just outside of their range most of the time. And so Godspeed says, remember to leave one person alive to tell them the legend of Karoga. Yeah, so, yeah, and so, yeah, Bird, if you look, let me go back to the countdown screen here, so you...
I've got soot in my eyes.
No, that's, okay, so now...
Now we need to possibly use the rockets.
So I've been shooting at your shield for some time.
No!
And with absolutely no
yes,
damage whatsoever.
Yes,
you see right here?
Yes,
yes,
nothing. Come on, no.
And
come on.
That tower is
no.
I'm 100% sure because I didn't land on the ground.
God,
but it looks like
damn
it's talent. Actually,
wait, we can do it. We can do it.
There. The tower itself looks like it's only 1 block thick. And so a shot from the heavy laser would absolutely disintegrate that tower. And it took several shots to actually sever the base of the tower. So, yeah, and you can see as it beautifully, slowly falls to the ground, a dead husk. No longer functional, just a memory.
Oh, no.
And so, let's see. And by the way, Bird, thank you. I do appreciate the fact that you're removing the comments about it being muted after I fixed it. I do appreciate that. And what is the point of Stormtrooper armor? It doesn't protect against anything, really. That's true. But the shields in the game actually do work. It's just that I wore them down. Rock Solid said, turn the mic on. Yeah, I know. BIRDOPREY says, don't tell him. Jerk. Darren says, hey, Trigger, let's see. I'm going to listen to Rush Limbaugh while I work on this video or the anti-checker. Guess since anti-checker's microphone isn't on, I'll listen to Rush. Jerk. Just can't win. What part did you miss? Remember the turn on the mic and camera before streaming? Yes, Rock Solid, I did miss that. I'm sorry. Hey there, nerd, and the other nerds. Hey, Kronos, good to see you. Mr. Miles says first. Kronos is saying live chats. Yes, I actually remembered that this time. Dan says, I can hear you. Yes, I got the audio figured out. Sorry, I was a little idiotic today. Godspeed says, that's why you sound like my god. You sound like a... that's what you sound like. My god, you sound like a hobbit after being beaten by a giant fish? What? Godspeed, you lost me on that one. Mr. Miles says, put flames on the walker so it'll look like you're moving fast. Kronos says, are you an Imperial walker now? Yeah. Surf Trek wants space hippie. No space hippie stuff. BIRDOPREY wants me to cover the walker in poop. I was actually thinking about something like that, like putting my avatar on there somewhere. We can get you a tricycle tassels and a little horn for your walker. Well, there you go. I'll tell you what, if anybody sends something to my P.O. Box before October 3rd, that's when the surgery is, and it's doable, I will somehow attach it to the walker. He has a walker. That does not make him Walker Texas Ranger. That is true. In fact, I told Mrs. Antichecker, I can't remember who it was, but someone said that the other day that I should put, like, Texas Ranger on the walker, and she thought that was hilarious. But, yeah. John says, Antichecker Karoga is following. Time for Morgan Freeman's Super Chat crossover with Bird. Well, now, Karoga used to be a good country until BIRDOPREY took over. This Rondell says, make the walker look like Captain Pike's wheelchair with 3 lights. Yeah, that's the thing I told her, like, and granted, it would be too, I wouldn't know how to do it exactly. The thing just basically unfolds, right? But, and it's very, very lightweight, as you can see. But, like, put a black panel there and another black panel on the front, and then, like, right here, put a blinking light so that you can beep once for yes and twice for no. I think that would be freaking hilarious. Now it's starting to sound dirty. Not sure why. The shield is called Bird. The shield is called Bird, so it took you a while to penetrate. Okay. Oh, I see. That's what sounded dirty. Gotcha. Bird of Prey, what laser were you using? Well, you can tell what laser I was using from the color, couldn't you? I was using a heavy laser. Greetings, Ant Checker and fellow nerds. Hey, Schumer. Thomas says, I wanted to take his tower down. I apologize, Thomas. I had the opportunity, and I took advantage of it. Love the parting shot as it falls. Yeah, you know, I know that was kind of a dick move, but I had to do it. A slow wind would take down the bird tower. Well, that's true. Bird says assassination of Abe Lincoln. That's right, that ship's called the Abe Lincoln, isn't it? I don't know how bad. The problem is, I couldn't get down to the ground because your defenses were still operational when I finished. So I couldn't get down to the ground to assess the actual damage. So I don't know how bad it was. Chris wants to know what happened. I'll show it again in just a minute, Chris, but we have gotten quite the victory over Kuroga. I was removing the comments of you being muted before you read them in hopes you wouldn't notice, jerk. Ah, I see what you're saying. Well, then you're being a jerk. Alexander says, how did the war go? Well, it was, Bird of Prey was crying. We'll just put it that way. Commies hate Rush. Well, that would be true. I thought I lost my puppy. Turns out he was sleeping in the laundry basket. Yeah, puppies will do that. Anti-tracker. When we first got her, would like hide in the laundry. Cinnamon gave us a shuttle. I can't get it to dock. Why did Cinnabon give us a shuttle? Seriously, why would Cinnabon give us a shuttle? I have no idea. I know he's threatening to attack us, but so why would he give us a shuttle? I'm really confused. I asked you the other if your walker would also be a Texas Ranger. That's right, it was you, Roxald. So, but yeah, so now that I have the walker, I need to figure out how to properly decorate it. Godspeed said, but for real, looks small for a man of your height. Well, actually, it's adjustable, and it's set to almost the maximum height. Surf Tractronic says, my dad's walker is way cooler than that one. I'm sure it is. This is the one that they give you at the doctor's office as opposed to a fancy one that you would buy. If it was a situation where I knew I was going to be using a walker for a long period of time, I'd probably get one of the fancier ones that has like the built-in seat and stuff like that, but not necessary. Is your walker a transformer? Well, it folds. So are we canceling the attack plan? No, not at all. We got to push Kuroga to its death. Anti looks dead from the back. Yeah, she does a lot. Discovery is releasing a new novel in December. I think it makes 6 novels they will have. Wow, and I've read 0. Josh says, all you need is tennis balls in the feet of the walker to make it easier to move. Actually, interesting. I learned about that today, Josh, when they were measuring me and they set the walker to the right height and all that. However, when the oh gosh, now I'm losing my train of thought. The tennis ball thing is only necessary if you use a walker for an extended period of time. The bottom of the feet of the walker are actually designed to do what the tennis balls do for people. But after over the period of months or even years, those feet wear down, and that's why people stick tennis balls on them. So a new walker that I'm only going to be using for a matter of a few weeks, the tennis balls will be unnecessary. So let's see. Bird of Prey says I put up a video of the damage. Oh, okay, I'll check it out after the stream. Kronos wants to know how is Lincoln doing these days. Good question. Only Bird could answer that because I couldn't get down to ground level to really assess the damage. Thomas says, Antricker, he is giving everyone one. He's giving everyone a shuttle? Okay, why? You need to get a fishing rod holder for the walker. That way you can fish in the tank. That is an interesting idea. Cinnamon says, I gave every faction an impulse shuttle to play around. Oh, okay, so with the impulse engine mod in there, you were just playing around with it? Gotcha. Josh says, Antrigger, did New Turkestan, a.k.a. Kuroga, end its rebellion after it would-be military was fired upon? Well, you know, they're much... The Kurogans are obviously a cowardly lot. Really, Bird of Prey is the only one that is still trying to be defiant, but he knows he's beaten. He just won't admit it. Impulse shuttles sound dirty. Yeah, Kronos, you just have your mind in the gutter today. Robert says, I was thinking of your walker. Think of the TOS episode, Let That Be Your Last Battlefield. Paint half of it white and the other half black. That's not bad. Dude, I just figured out what you need to do for Halloween entry. You need to be Carl from the Pixar movie Up, and dress up as Doug. Joshua could be Russell. I hate you. If it was me, I would have hidden bombs in my gifts to explode at my discretion. That's not a bad idea, but we don't need bombs to, yeah. Of course, says Up was a great movie. It certainly was. There are 6 STD novels. Never even knew there was 1, let alone 6. Yeah, I have zero interest in reading STD novels. Although the funny thing is, depending on who wrote them, there's a certain irony that the STD novels may actually be good. We just know the show sucks. Add diametric tail fins to make it a hot rod. Make this thing look mean enough, and other walkers are going to think twice before approaching. And Alexander puts $2 into the chat. Says, on mute, I'm in a Mandarin course. All right, well, Alexander, in that case, you can't hear me, but I hope that your Mandarin course goes very well. And I think that your Asian Muslim wife will really appreciate you learning Mandarin. Now A-Trigger looks like the old guy from the Pixar movie Up. Our daughter is named after the wife in Up. Really? That's cool. When I eventually get in the future, when I eventually in the future get my proper computer, is it legal to join Turkestan and build doomsday weapons? Well, yeah, you can join any faction and build doomsday weapons. However, you just when we restart the server, which once the war is definitively over, we're going to probably do a full server restart because we've been having a lot of problems, and I'm going to set some hard limits for each player's how much they're allowed to build, which means once you hit that limit, you'd have to grind your stuff down to build something else, so that we don't have these server bog downs. And yeah, it means people have to think more strategically about what they build. You need warp cores to make the impulse engines on large grids efficient. Is that a separate... I have no idea who this is, but I probably need to take this call because I got a lot going on. So bear with me, guys. I'll be back. Hello? Speaking. Sure. Give me...
This is the story of the unsung hero of the Klingon Empire, Joe. Joe was the only Klingon in history to dare to call Captain James T. Kirk a coward and live. Joe not only fought the mighty Captain Kirk to a standstill, he also beat the legendary Montgomery Scott in hand-to-hand combat. Joe had a plan to overthrow his commander Kang by tricking Kang into fighting against Kirk. But the fight was interrupted by several Starfleet officers. Joe then made the mistake of trying to fight Spock in hand-to-hand combat. Spock used a Vulcan nerve pinch on Joe, causing severe nerve damage. It was years before Joe could even speak again. To this day, Joe has been unable to walk. However, he has managed to build up a strangely successful singing career.
Alamarine, count to 4, Alamarine, then 3 more. Alamarine, if you can see, Alamarine, you'll come with me. Alamarine, count to 4, Alamarine, then 3 more. Alamarine, if you can see, Alamarine, you'll come with me. Alamarine, count to 4, Alamarine, then 3 more. Alamarine, if you can see, Alamarine, you'll come with me. Alamarine, count to 4, Alamarine, then 3 more. Alamarine, if you can see, Alamarine, then you'll come with me.
Thanks, Joe, for being an inspiration for every brain-damaged Klingon out there.
There we go. Now, that was downright perfect timing. I just finished the phone call. That was basically, just so you guys know, that was the physical therapist wanting to schedule my first appointment for post-surgery. So that's all that was. All right, so where was I? Godspeed. Oh, yeah, you asked about the Doomsday Westerns. Okay. BIRDOPREY says, Antric attacked Kuroga while I was offline in a stunt to help win the Kurdistan election. Hashtag vote Thomas. Okay. Eat lots of fruit and put the stickers from them all over your walker. That's a different one. Chrono says, I always have my mind in the gutter. I figured you probably would. And there is Alexander who says I'm on mute. Alexander, hi. Chrono says, hey, Doc. Roxod says, love you too, my friend. And Cinnabon says, with 3 large reactors, I can't power engines and the shields and weapons all at once. Wow, that is a problem. So this warp core thing, is that a separate mod? Okay, yeah, I see you'll send a workshop link. Very cool. Yeah, send me the link, and if the warp cores work out, we'll leave that after we do the reset, and we'll have fun with doing more Star Trek-y type stuff. Any news about Worf being on Picard? Everything I've heard is that Worf will not be on Picard, that rumor was completely false. Sci-Fi Sid says, hello there. How you doing, Sci-Fi? Do you have a favorite Pixar movie, asked Dan23. Yes, I do. Mr. Miles says, if your walker is a Transformer, name it Optimus Pastus Prime. I like that. Oh, man. Roxanne says, yes, my fiance was told she was infertile after her cancer, just like Ellie from Up. She really identified with her and her struggle, so my youngest was named Ellie. Squirrel! Very cool. That is actually really cool, Roxanne. And Cinnabon said he'll send the workshop link for Warp Cores. Please do. But Cinnabon, do me a favor. Send it on Skype, but in a side message, not in the main Space Engineers chat, so that it doesn't get buried if a bunch of people say things. Who is Slim Shady? Well, who was singing Slim Shady was William Shatner. Is it illegal to build asteroid or planet eater mining ships? Well, Josh... is it legal when we do the reset? Yeah, I'm going to take the, by the way, just so you guys that play the game know, when we do the next reset, I am going to take the mining laser out because I think it takes some of the fun out of the game. If you just have everything, it's not as fun. Because part of the fun of the game is to struggle to get ahead of the other players. So as far as building giant mining ships and stuff, the way that it'll work after the reset is, hey, you could build a massive mining ship if you want, but if you use all of your available allocated PCU to build a single ship, just means you won't be able to build anything else. And so you have to be careful about that. And that's why we're going to set the hard limits in that one, because the problem that we keep running into, and I know some people like to point at Kurdistan because we have the biggest base, but there are some factions that build tons and tons of ships that are just eating up the PCU. And that's cool that they're doing that because there's no limits in the game, but it does drag down the server. So we're going to make sure that we put a cap on things so that the server doesn't fall apart like it kind of has the last couple of times. Mike is on. Yes, it's Laura on the phone. No. You didn't mute the mic. Did I leave the mic on the whole time? I thought I muted it after a minute. And let's see. And What is your favorite super weapon that destroys planets from movies or TV? Well, specifically a super weapon that destroys planets. Honestly, there aren't that many of them. You know, you have, obviously, like from classic Trek, you have the Doomsday Machine. You have the Genesis device from the film era of Trek. You have things like the Death Star, Starkiller Base. Of course, you have Professor Farnsworth's many Doomsday devices. You know, but honestly, just as far as a super weapon that felt like it was a threat and added something to the story and all that, I'm going to go with Death Star. I think the Death Star is a cool idea. Although, if the rumor of Death Star destroyers is true, wow, way to suck out the fun of the Death Star. But whatever. Those are Kuroga lawyers on the film. Reparations, yeah, that's not going to happen. You know, first of all, as you could clearly see, I mean, you could see this is clearly a military installation that we are attacking here. So there will be no reparations because, you know, that's if your military is going to be bad, and then they have to pay the price. I wish STD's short films were this good. Thank you. And let's see. I'm just doing the ones addressed directly to me. I apologize, but I'm behind and I'm hurting and I'm tired and yeah. Robert Smith says you need sound clips of bird actually crashing into the antenna. Yeah, I know. I meant to do that because Thomas has a great thing. Restart, so your office will be a toilet. Well, Thomas, the problem is the game can't run forever. And so I think what we need to do and by the way, Thomas, because you just started getting into shipbuilding, I just want to say this to you specifically, but you know, you just started getting into shipbuilding recently, and you've done a pretty good job with your initial ship. So I say whenever the restart does happen, what we do is the first thing we do is once we get into the game is we focus our combined efforts at building a refining station. Similar to, I mean, and obviously Chris will be the designer of said refining station because he's got that down. And Yosa puts €2 in and says, FYI, I won't be on Picard nor Picard on me. Okay. Thank you, Yosef. I wasn't really worried about you being on Picard, but now that we've cleared that up, everybody knows Yosef will not be in Star Trek Picard.
Oh, no, please, I don't want to go. I don't want to go, please. No, I don't want to go. No. Why would you do this to your fans, you heartless monster?
The absolute classic. Anyway, Tom, so what we need to do, we start out, we build a refining location, and we all need to chip in roughly equal amounts of labor into that so that it doesn't just drain one person's ability to build. Then once we have that built, we then concentrate on building ships, and we're going to go mobile much faster. And let's see, the Picard show will also have a short trek. Yeah, I heard. And Midnight's Edge is here, says, you mean they're going to finally get that surgery for you so you're not so much of a jerk? Thanks, Midnight's Edge. And I was about to ask if you wanted me to be on the show tonight, but I don't know. Jeez. Your appointment is your appointment in the Shire? No, it is at the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance. And my first physical therapy appointment will be Monday, the 7th of October. My surgery is on the 3rd of October. Nicole says, the war is over. Well, say it's over is a little bit of a stretch, but the Turkestan inflicted a death blow against Kuroga. That was very, very cool. And Nicole, since obviously you didn't see it earlier, this is some footage
Come on. No.
Now
no.
that is
Come
called
on.
Bird's Nest.
No, no,
It's an
no,
extremely
no,
tall
no.
tower. It's hard to tell
Ah,
from this angle because we're almost directly
God
above it.
Damn it.
And
Wait, we can do it.
the
we
exciting
can do it,
thing
we can do
is coming up in just a second here as we finally poke through the shields and we can see that there it goes. All the turbines have stopped except for the ones at the very bottom of the base. And slowly,
Why do you hate me?
like the majestic oak, the bird's nest
Oh.
goes down.
Oh.
And Bird, of course, is crying. So, yeah.
Oh, no.
So sad. And, of course, Bird was working on a powerful warship, the Abe Lincoln, which you can see right here. And beautiful. Look at this shot. This is so perfect. I'm assuming I hit like a reactor or something because watch this. Watch the secondary explosion here.
I've got
Wait, I think it's right here, I think. There it goes. Look at that.
Now
So
we
something
need to
in that ship
possibly
blew up
use
real
the
good.
rockets.
Let's see. Thomas says the voting machine is ready. Okay, good. Todd says maybe in the restart we'll have one larger ship and some fighters. I actually have some thoughts on that, Thomas, but I don't want to talk about that in public for obvious reasons. Godspeed says enter add a basket on the front of the walker and put a teddy with a broken leg and call it Lord. Corona says, I played the game 4 times. Was painful. Okay. Not sure what... Are you talking about Space Engineers or another game? Because you confused me. And let's see. Corona says, Bird crashes make up for all the troubles with Space Engineers. Well, that's true. Watching Bird crash makes the game worthwhile. Do you wish that we got to see the Death Star in or drop out of hyperspace in Rogue One? Yeah, you know, I kind of think they should have shown that. Because what an impressive sight that would be to have the Death Star come out of hyperspace. Yeah. Reapers were the best. Mass Effect, I missed that universe. Well, sorry, Mr. Miles. Narada Red Matter, Vulcan Killer. Yeah, the Red Matter thing, I thought that was kind of a lame one, to be honest. And there's Yosef's $2 or €2 super chat saying he will not be on Picard, nor Picard on me, which that's good, I suppose. What kind of specs does one need to play Space Engineers with you? I'm not good with computers. I have an old MacBook Pro, but need a PC, so looking for something. Well, I would say this. If you get a gaming rig, it should be able to handle Space Engineers fine. If you get a cheapo, get it at Walmart for $180, then no, it's not going to run it. But Space Engineers, not a huge amount of resources necessary to run, but the more you have, the smoother it will run. Surf says, Antracker, eat some snacks. Okay. And then Chrono says, please, not the whining again. What whining? Am I whining? I don't... Enter, what I would like to do when I get on is we all build an Ark ship, possibly if the server all work together, and then call it the Ark of the Turden. Uncle Remo says, Anti-Trekker has a new exclusive CBS all-access Picard merchandise, the Picard Walker. That's right. Star Trek Picard right here. Make it show. Cinnamon says, I'd build a smaller map. Yeah, I'm thinking about that too. That will make a single planet, and this was BIRDOPREY's suggestion actually on his live stream, and I think good idea. We make it a single planet map. Now I don't know, and I know you were suggesting this, Bird, and I'm not 100% sure how. I don't know how to change the size of the planet. You said just put one planet but make it bigger. I don't know how to make a planet size. I don't know how to do that. I'll have to learn, or if you find out, Bird, tell me, and so I can do it. But yeah, we put a single planet with a moon and asteroids, and that's it. So that we're not spread out over thousands and thousands of kilometers and stuff, and we also don't have to build like, just build like crazy. Spin those thumbs up, by the way. Thank you. Oh, was that Super Chat 1 playing in the background? It was. I apologize for that. That was my fault. Dr. Alex is in the house, says, hi, Anti-Checker. Did you bomb Bird-of-Prey back into the Stone Age? Not quite the Stone Age, but the Bronze Age, I would say. So this is some of the aerial footage that was taken at the time, Dr. Alex. What you see there is Bird's primary power generation. It's an incredibly large tower covered with wind turbines. Very, very stupid design, to be honest, but you know, I understand Bird is, well, he's into stupid things. And let's see. And yes, Godspeed, I got that message. Thank you. But yes, Dr. Alex, so this was the fall, that's basically the end of Karoga's power grid right there. You know, so sad. Bird-of-Prey, the limit needs to be per faction, not per user. Otherwise, Turkestan will have with many more players than Karoga has an unfair advantage. Well, but here's the problem. Either one, and this is a problem, Bird, that we need to figure out. Because if you're talking about per faction or per user, either one has a problem. Because if you do it as per faction, that opens up to another type of cheat because, for example, let's say that, you know, Turkestan, we've got 5 people, you're on Karoga, and you have 3 people. And so you say, well, if it's per faction, that's fair because we can each build the same amount of stuff. But then let's say that you're like, we need to be able to get an edge up on Turkestan. How do we do that? Hey, I got an idea. Life with Matthew leaves Karoga, starts his own faction, and then allies with Karoga, and now you've just doubled the amount of stuff you can build. And so we run into a genuine problem there where if you do it per faction or per user, well, if you do it per user, then whoever has the most people on their side has a little bit of an advantage. If you put it as per faction, it becomes, well, who's ever willing to split up their team and cheat gets an advantage, which means, once again, if you have more people, it makes it easier to get more stuff. So I think what we really should probably try to do is you need to get more people on Karoga. So that it's balanced. Now, if Wesley plays as a Karogan next time, that will give you a huge advantage because Wesley's experienced with the game, and as long as he is not running around using admin powers, you know, then that would not be a problem. And so that's something to think about. Obviously, this game isn't over yet, but when it is, we need to work on that. Peter says, "Gotta head out, Enter. Have a good one. Good luck with the surgery." Thank you, Peter. Take care of yourself. Robert says, Enter, as long as Will Smith and Jeff Goldblum will not appear on any ship with a virus. Yeah, you got to be careful about that. Ozzy says Karoga will prevail. Ozzy, you know, there's the tower, the great Karogan tower falling. So, yeah, I think you're wrong. Oh, but I know you're thinking, but what about the great Karogan battleship? Well, there's it getting completely, you know, just ripping it to shreds. Again, I don't know how bad the actual damage was. I'm gonna have to look at the video that Bird put up. In fact,
now we
let's
need to
see
possibly use the rockets.
if we grab a browser, bring it over here, go to YouTube.
Yes, 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 yes,
and
yes.
see.
Come on, no.
Bird-O-Prey.
No.
5X, I believe. That's the one where you put it?
God.
Yes,
it.
Karoga attack.
Wait, we can do it.
And so we'll switch screens here so we can see that. So let's see, what did Bird actually say here?
And what did I see? Well, it's not good.
Not good.
A lot of misshaped blocks. A sure sign of an attack. But how bad was it? Well, part of the roof's missing.
Yeah.
Some things are missing. There's holes in the floor, and well, they left the cryopods.
Yeah, I missed your cryopod, so you got lucky.
I don't know why, but they did. Let's check. Oh, look. Oh, still have a lot of lasers on the base. Now, granted, a lot of the lasers are gone, but certainly it's not completely without defenses. So that's kind of weird.
How's that weird? Just because I didn't completely destroy your base, but yeah, we'll see.
I mean, it was a pretty well defended base.
It was.
Plus, it had a shield, so
your base put up
and
a
this
fight.
wasn't a fly-by, drive-by attack. And you say, well, why is it built with glass, you idiot? Well, that's because this base was built when we had a safe zone. That we were supposed to have an administrative safe zone to keep it safe. In fact, I've been spending the better part of the last few days getting rid of the glass on the lower levels and replacing it with heavy armor blocks. Oh, what is this? This is the SOB Abraham Lincoln. It has been assassinated.
Oh,
there was the hydrogen tanks. Gone. The reactors are gone.
I did hit the reactors. Okay.
Everything pretty much except some gyroscopes are gone. Conveyors, random conveyors. Giant hole in the head of the ship. How ironic.
Why is that ironic? Bird, do you know
the
what
Lincoln,
ironic means?
The Lincoln is dead.
Oh, I get it. You think
the shield is still up. Well, so the shield is still up.
Well, not the shield.
Why
on the
would
ship.
they
The shield
destroy
around the
everything
base
and
is
not
still up.
the shield?
But it took me a while to get through it, and then it just regenerates.
The
as long as you have
Lagmore
power.
is still there. I was tearing that down. The bird's nest. The bird's nest is down, just chopped down. I'm assuming that crater is where the perch hit the lake. I don't know. No, it's chopped into two halves. I assume they chopped the first half down and then decided to come down and chop off the rest.
No, actually, see now, Bird. That's the thing. You saw. I actually cut it in half from orbit. So
you see, if you're going to chop down the bird's nest, you should have at least chopped it down at the base. And I hope whoever did this recorded it, because I wasn't online when this happened. Would have been nice to have a heads up, but whatever.
Wow, that
I
was
just
an almost
hope
perfect
it got
shot. That I didn't realize
recorded.
I got it down to just 2 blocks.
Because
from the 2 blocks from the very base. That was a really good shot. So I'm very proud of myself.
Love to have seen the bird's nest fall. If it was going to fall, I definitely wanted to have seen it. But I would have cut it at the base so the whole damn thing could fall in one swoop and really have made an impact. So let's see. I see our one working laser drill has been destroyed. That we had no working laser drill until Cinnabon gave us a drill the other day. That's gone. Well, there was the shield. The shield apparently, and the lasers. Maybe this was too well defended to come over here. Okay, we still have some more cryopods and whatnot.
Why do you have cryopods
up there? And this was a mega dual laser on the back with its own reactor. So reactor's gone, laser's gone.
Yeah, I actually saw that laser, and I was very proud of that.
Unfortunate.
I took it down.
But as you can see, this entire back of the base was glass. Why is there a battery? Who made this battery? Me, BIRDOPREY 5. I have no idea why a battery I made is just laying behind the base.
I think I can explain that one to you, Bird. Let me see if I can find the footage for you. But when let me go to my editor. All right, let's see. We'll kind of scroll through the entire. There's a lot of boring footage here that I don't want to. What I'm looking for is when let's see. what I did to that, where that battery came from. I'm pretty sure I can explain it to you. And there it is. All right. All right, so if we turn the game screen back on. All right, so this is the actual footage, the raw footage here of the attack. Right here, you can see that shot right there. You had what looked like a small ship parked right there that I targeted and took out. So I'm assuming that that battery was from the small ship. So, yeah. All right, let's get back to the chat now that I've embarrassed BIRDOPREY enough. Let's see. Roxanne says, I'll be on Midnight's Edge tonight. If desired, I can stream from GameStop where I'm picking up the Genesis Classic. Oh, very cool. Shire medicine involves mostly pipe weed. Yes, that's very true. When they split open the atom, this mass of crap came out. Will that happen with your knee? I don't know. That's a interesting question. Let's see. Man, all of a sudden, I'm sorry, I'm way behind in the chat. I apologize. No whining. BIRDOPREY bombed in the Stone Age. A good one. Kroger will prevail. Okay. Thomas says we have a Stargate problem again. Chrono says I have soot in my eyes. Roxanne says, hey, blinking anti-tracker. Yeah. Okay. Ozzy says, why did we get rid of the safe zones? We actually, Turkestan never had one. I don't know about Kuroga as far as whether they ever tried to set one up or not. We literally never had one. And I think we kind of decided that we shouldn't because it was, everybody was playing it too safe. BIRDOPREY says, all the reactors and hydrogen tanks were destroyed on the Lincoln. I'm glad to hear that. And Chrono says, yes, I was talking about space engineers. Okay, thank you for clarifying, my friend. Sci-Fi Sith says, this just in, Antrigger's online shop, the new anti-turd walker with stickers. Robert says, you have asteroids, get some Preparation H. Captain Cat is in the house. Hello, bro, how y'all? Not too bad, Captain Cat. Good to see you. Cinnamon says, I can walk you through how to do that. I don't remember which that was. I remember I asked you about how to do something, and yeah. That's the problem with me going on a long tirade. I got to get caught up. BIRDOPREY says, we allow only 3 factions, Kuroga, Turd, and Other. Okay. But what about independents then? Do you have to join a faction? And if there's only 3 factions, I mean, I'm fine with that, but we want to make sure that we work this out properly. So if we only allow for 3 factions in the game, so you can either join Kuroga, Turkestan, or a single independent faction, which means we're going to have to nominate someone like, Epic Beard or Vile Mike, or someone gets to set up the 3rd faction. But then what do you do for people that just don't join a faction? Cinnamon says you could limit it to the 2 factions. Everyone has to join Kuroga or Turkestan. Well, and I assume like individual players can't. Correct me if I'm wrong. Okay, so maybe oh, you were probably talking about changing the size of the planet. That's what you're talking about. Yes, I do need to know how to do that. So correct me if I'm wrong. This would be a possibility. So if we make it so you can eat, the only 2 factions allowed would be Kuroga and Turkestan, no other factions. And correct me if I'm wrong, Cinnabon, but if you are not in a faction, you cannot form an alliance, which means that would take away the cheating ability. However, if you do choose to go independent, what would happen to the block limit if you're not a part of a faction? If the block limit is set to factions. Dan says, do you like the Argo buggy from Nemesis? I would love to have one. I thought it was stupid in the context of Nemesis, but I think it was cool looking. I would definitely love to have it. But at the same time, I thought it was stupid to include in Star Trek. BIRDOPREY says, show the video of you shooting the Kurogan orphanage and the hospital. I would if there was such a thing, but we never attacked an orphanage or hospital. Of course, you could argue that the entire nation of Kuroga is an orphanage because you just make people suffer. At the end of Independence Day 2, they were asked if they wanted to go into space to fight the aliens. Oh, okay, yes, I remember. Do you like Earth Force ships from Babylon 5? They're not bad, actually. I don't mind the designs. You know, obviously the visual effects on Babylon 5 didn't age well, but I do like some of the ship designs there. Part of the roof is missing, Bird. Correct me if I'm wrong, Antrigger, but I'd say the top part of the roof is missing. Not an important part or anything. And Crow says 54 watching, only 22 licks. BIRDOPREY, I'm sorry, Antrigger does what he does to you, bro. What? Wait a minute. I was retaliating for a brutal attack against us. So, yeah. Yosef says, QWERTY community, lick the thumb. That's wow. Turkestan is literally a German dictator from the 1930s. That is not true, Tiki. Did you ever like the show Andromeda? No, I never cared for it, I'll be honest with you. But I didn't give it a lot of attention, to be honest. I might try it out one of these days when I have some time. Mr. Miles says, damn it, you're making me want to play this game. Knock it off. Sorry, Mr. Miles. But, you know, eventually you will join us. But, yeah, and I understand what you were saying before, and so we just have to budget that time. If you have a problem, starburst out of here like Farscape. All right. Rear end lasers. That's definitely BIRDOPREY's favorite thing in the world. Probably when you destroyed the Pierce, the battery fell. Yeah, that's why I was showing that shot of the Pierce falling. I assume that's the Pierce. Thundercats Ho says, why is a cryopod called a cryopod? It's called a cryopod because it's the pod where BIRDOPREY goes to cry. Best comment of the day, Thundercats. Todd says, Hector, before the restart, you should do a final tour of our base so that there's video footage to remember it. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Because you and Chris have done such a bang-up job with that base. But I think that in the for the next go-round, the base, we should scale the base down a little bit. As awesome as the base is, we really did build a lot of unnecessary stuff. So, yeah. Nicole says, so I need to stop on Project Omega, or there'll be, as there will be another server reset. Well, we don't know when that server reset's gonna be. So you can continue to work on Project Omega until that time happens, because you know what? All practice is good. Thomas says, after the stream, check Discord about the Stargate. Yeah, I will, Thomas. I know you said earlier we were having trouble with the Stargate, so we'll check that out. And yeah, you keep talking about birds ship the Abe Lincoln or the Hey Blinken. Cronus wants to know if Mr. Miles is getting racist. Okay. I certainly hope not. Cronus says, Auntie just breathed. Yeah, she does every once in a while. You know, she definitely does. Thomas says, we have a tiny hole in our station. Oh, man. Well, we need to fix that. Cronus says, nice cryopod. Yes. Joseph says, so true. I feel less embarrassed. Talking to Mr. Miles, I was like, what are you talking about? So, almost I'm Slavic, but speak fluent German, so I am like Burnham. Not Vulcan, only raised as one, but I'm way less skilled than she is. Wow, that's interesting. Kronos says, there are some smart peeps out there. That is very true, Kronos, and that's why I love you guys, because I have the smartest YouTube audience on YouTube, and I'm not just saying that to kiss your butts. Because, well, yeah, I am. BIRDOPREY, did you really attack Anti-Drinker first? He did. Well, not Bird personally didn't. It was an agent of evil working on Bird's behalf from Karoga that did attack us. Thomas says, we should play until PCU is low. Well, the PCU is already dragging the game down. I mean, right now, the game's running about 70%, which is better than it had been running since we cleaned things up a bit. But yeah. Nicole says, cool, going to overdrive when I get home to see if I can get it done. Absolutely. Which, by the way, Nicole, I saw that one, the Eagle has landed, put it that way, and very impressive work there. Shomer says, Mamma Mia, Bird crashed his ship again. No, where did the mountain come from? Roxanne says, smartest YouTube audience, and BIRDOPREY, don't exclude him. And BIRDOPREY. Don't exclude them. Very true, Roxy. I should have said that. I do have the smartest YouTube audience and BIRDOPREY. One way to get around people going independent, if anyone does, we could just keep deleting their grids. So like a grid that's not associated with a faction would just get deleted. Can you do that automatically, though, or would we have to manually go in? Because deleting all those grids the other day that we did to get rid of the crap, while it did definitely help the server, that's not something that I want to commit to do every single freaking day. So yeah, Mr. Miles says, if I started to play that game, I'd start editing videos with the footage. I could speed ramps, Luna translations for the sky, hyperlapse craps of building and ships. Oh yeah, you could definitely put together some good stuff there. Let's see. Hector says, well, that's one way of having less people playing. That could work from a certain point of view. See, and that's the problem. I want to be able to encourage people to play, and I know though that players like Hector and Epic Beard and Vile Mike and stuff, they don't want to take one of the two main sides. They just want to kind of be there and have some fun. All those editing things I want to practice, but I can't with your style of videos. Well, Mr. Miles, you need to tell me what you're after, and I'll try to help you with. We'll change things up a little bit. You really need to watch Foley Bridge Crew streams. I got that message from you, Thomas, and unfortunately I didn't get a chance to watch it last night. I may watch last night's stream later, though, if I get a chance. Well, one crash, slide off pad down a hill. Do not know why Eagle 2 was trying to do it smarter. Okay. Cinnabon says, might be a way to set no faction to 0 PCU. Right, but then, see, I don't want to make it so that, and that's where we run into the problem. And I think that what we need to do is, like, all the people that play on a regular basis, that includes Vile Mike, that includes, obviously, Hector, that includes all the players that have not been an active part of Turtistan or Karoga. We need to come up with a viable solution. Now, I would say that the way I would propose it would be, if we were going to do just the two factions in the game, then we would set like probably about a 500,000 PCU limit on each side. So a total PCU limit of 1 million. And we would leave that as a hard limit. We will not bump it up under any circumstances, and see if that works. But the problem is that millions. Actually, that's probably a little bit. We probably have to lower it a little more than that. Probably be more like 300,000 to keep it reasonable. Because once we broke like about 900,000 PCU is when we started noticing the problems. But we need to figure out, well, what's the fair thing for the people who like to be independent? Do we let them be independent and just set like an individual PCU limit that's very, very low? So like, let's say if you want to go independent, you can, but you have a PCU limit of like 5,000, right? Not a lot, but enough to where you can build a ship, you can build a small base, you can go around doing trades and missions and stuff like that if you want to, but not enough to where you're going to take over the universe, right? So we got to work on that. We got to figure out what the best way to do it. Bradley says you need to create a neutral faction whose only job is to build a safe place and police the other players and enforce the rules. Well, you see, I kind of wanted to do that with Cinnabon and West, but here's the problem with that, Bradley, and this is a genuine problem in a game like this. The game is ridiculously fun, but it's not fun if you don't get to participate in the combat, right? So the problem, and this is, I truly sympathize, because the problem is with Cinnabon and Wes, there have been a couple of times where both Cinnabon and Wes have done things that we'll just say not entirely kosher, as far as even though they're admins, they're going to jump in and actually attack somebody and stir the pot a little bit, because it would drive you crazy to be in this game and not be able to participate. Or you see that nobody's fighting and you're like, how do I get things going? And so a neutral faction whose job it is to build a safe place and police the other players would get real boring. That's the problem. Oh, there's no way to try to try out things like the speed ramps, hyperlapse, time lapse using a sky as a way to transition to other needs. Only way to do that is by recording footage. But inside a game, the entire thing is a mobile camera in a 3D environment, so it can be transferred to a video game. That's okay. I get what you're saying. Wow, what happened to the viewership? People are dropping off like lemmings. Are they? Well, maybe they hate me, I guess. You guys hate me. Edtrigger, we're at war with Karoga. You were not paying attention to bird streams, it seems. Well, the problem is, you know, I've been very, very busy the last few days, and so, no, I haven't seen too much of bird streams in the last few days, which is unfortunate. I love watching bird streams, but honestly, I just haven't been able to. Dan Toy, the neutrals from Futurama, yes, absolutely. Remember, if you see my wife, tell her I said hello. I love the futures, the neutrals on Futurama. Actor says we only have 120,000 PCU right now, so our main base is 63 times smaller than Turdistan's. No, Actor, you're not doing the math right. When I said we're at like 900,000 right now, that's total. That's everybody in the game, not Turdistan. And in fact, right on this, I can actually see the various grids in the game. And so the Turdistan base peaked out at it was like a little, it's like 100 and I'm trying to remember now, but it was like I think 170,000 PCU. But that also had ships attached to the base. Bradley says, admins should not be allowed to participate in fighting. Admins have a responsibility to obey admins and enforce the rules. If admins can't do their jobs, you need new admins. Well, but you see, therein lies the problem, Bradley. And is that we need to have, you know, someone who wants to be an admin, but you know, it's a hard role to fill. And I don't think it's fair to push that on Cinnabon and Wes if they really want to play the game. You know what I'm saying? Chronos says, bird streams aren't that great. Well, I'm trying to be nice to him, Chronos. Hector says, Hector, we are at war with Kroga since the last server. But Hector, let me ask you, if and when the server gets restarted after the war is over, would you want to, like, would you join Turdistan? Would you join Karoga? Or, you know, because if we only have the two factions or you have a very limited PCU count, what would you do? And let's see, maybe you should scale down the system, make it smaller with just a couple planets. Well, yeah, we're already talking about that, Ozzy. We're going to make the next one will only have one planet. It's funny when Bird cannot fly. Yeah, that is, yeah. And that sounds good, but it leaves no incentive for me to even play. Exactly, and I don't want that. Chrono says dodos couldn't fly. That's true. We now know what kind of bird is. To add insult to injury, then sending them offering a peace. It's never too late. But admins are here to play the game too. But that's the problem. If admins are here to play, there can't be enough. And this is, and thank you, Thomas says 173,083 PCU for our base. If admins can't want to play the game and be an admin. Those are two incompatible things, and we've seen that a few times now, because you just want to get involved so bad, and it drives you crazy, and I don't want to do that to people. So I'm trying to think of how can we set it up so that admins will be, as far as active admins, will be unnecessary, right? So obviously the anti-server account back there will always be an admin, but but as far as like my account, Cinnabon's account, Wesley's account, no admins, right? If we can, but we have to make sure we set the universe in such a way to where that's not going to create a problem. Andrew, make a super chat video of Auntie tracing that rabbit. Hector says that our base, I assume you mean that instead of vase, is 2764. Very small. But that's the thing. Like, you guys spent very little time building your base, but you spent a lot of time building ships. We spent more time building our base than ships. Bradley says, this is exactly why I said you need new admins. I understand, Bradley, but I got to find them. Captain Cat says, I admin a server. I have admin account for when things go wrong, or I have a GM, but to play, I use my player accounts. Yeah. Well, and that's kind of what I do, because I have 2 Steam accounts now. Both have Space Engineers. The one on the computer I'm looking at right now is the anti-tracker account. The one on the computer back there is the anti-server account. And so that they remain separate. Anti-Tracker and Bird should be the only admins on the entire server, not regular players. That might not be a bad idea, honestly. And I don't know if you'd be willing to take that on, Bird, because, and I'll tell you, now, all joking and kidding aside as far as the evil Karoga and all that, I will tell you guys this, is that I implicitly trust Bird, Joe, right? And so if Joe was willing to say, okay, I can be an admin, Joe can be an admin, but we both swear not to use our admin powers for anything other than necessary game function stuff, I would be willing to do that. But that's up to I would need to propose that to Joe, and Joe would have to accept it. And then we would have to talk about what we are okay with and not okay with people doing. Chrono says, oh, sure, it's all about you, isn't it? No. It's all about you. Thomas says, I'm still freaked out. The server was talking to me yesterday. Well, Thomas, that happens. The server, that was the anti-server account. Like, I can talk into the chat from this panel here. Why not let Wesley and Cinnamon have 2 accounts, one to play and one to be an admin? Well, here's the problem with that. And Jaegerbaum throws $5 into the chat. Thank you so much, Jaeger. I really, really appreciate it. I'm going to read your comment in just a second, but I do want to answer what Josh was saying. Here's the problem with Wesley and Cinnabon having 2 accounts, one to play and one to be an admin. Totally fine with that, except that would mean they'd have to have 2 separate Steam accounts, each with Space Engineers on it. You can't just create a second login for Space Engineers. It's tied to your Steam account. And so you would literally have to own 2 copies of Space Engineers. And I do. I own Space Engineers on 2 different Steam accounts because of that. Jaeger says, good top 5. And thank you for the $5 again. Good top 5 list for TOS. Which one are you working on now? Head Steam, I'd recommend Gothic Armada 1 and 2. Capture capital ships battles well. What are you working on next? Head Steam, I'd recommend Gothic Armada 1 and 2. Captures capital ships battles well. Never heard of Gothic Armada. Let me take a look here. But we'll probably, honestly, I really like, let's see, Battlefleet, Gothic Armada. Never heard of that one. It's, let me bring up their little trailer here. And I obviously have it muted because I wouldn't want to get DMCA'd. So, this is the trailer for the game. Now, those are cool looking ships and all, but what's the, let me see, is there, like, I don't know, is this do you build stuff, or is it just, hey, you play the game, you get the ships, and you fight? Because I think the coolest thing about Space Engineers, and the reason I love Space Engineers so much, is that, you build things from scratch in this game. And so, like Bird, as much as I make fun of Bird, he, those ships that he was flying around and crashing in, he freaking built those from scratch. He learned how the physics of the game works. He learns how to build the various components. He did all that. He's got a lot to be proud of with what he's accomplished in this last game. The Abe Lincoln was an impressive looking ship. I will tell you, there's a reason that I attacked him when I did. Because if he actually came after us with the Abe Lincoln, that would have been a bad day for us. So, yeah. Bird says, I don't mind being an admin, but I only have 1 computer, so it would need to be my main account. Right, and that's the thing. It would, I understand that, Bird, and I would have to, and that's the thing. It would be a trust between you and me, because we would have the ability to cheat, but we would both have to resist that urge. And so if you feel you can do it, then we can do that. And you and I will be basically the admins of the game. However, if we feel like we can't do it, we need to be honest about that. Joseph says, what are the requirements from an admin? Well, Joseph, the main thing is that, first of all, you have to, be able to monitor the game as far as the performance of the game, spot problems, and try to repair said problems, which is the main thing that Cinnabon spent a whole lot of time on the last server doing. So, like, if you see that the game speed is dropping, you start investigating why, and you try, like, oh, well, we got all these random floating objects in the world that need to be deleted, and so then you delete them and stuff like that. And it's not nearly as fun as building ships and attacking people. However, if we set a strict set of parameters for the game, and then let it run, and then Bird and I just have the abilities to do administrative things when it's necessary, then that hopefully would make it more fun. Josh, the Bird would destroy Turtistan. Well, if he did, then the thing is that I would have the ultimate power in that I can go right there and delete his admin ability. So, I could do that if I actually thought Bird was cheating. But I don't think Bird would cheat. He's, Joe may be an evil dictator with delusions of godhood, but in real life, Joe is a pretty good guy. He has a beagle. What can I say? Forgive the spelling errors, Jaeger. I never judge on spelling. Josh says, that Bird would destroy Turtle. No, I don't think he would. You missed the reference. It's all about you, isn't it? Well, there's a few times that was used. So I'm not sure specifically which one you're using. In fact, my favorite It's All About You line was actually from Doctor Strange, when the Ancient One was educating Doctor Strange that he never learned the most important lesson, that it's not all about you. Cinnamon says, because I don't want to buy a second copy of yeah, I understand, Cinnamon, and I'm not going to force you to. Chrono says, wow, just wow, I have a lot of spelling errors as well. And you know what, Chronos, I don't judge you for it either. Surf says, admins can't be players. If they had another account, they could just edit the game to benefit the other account. Can't work. Right, and that's why it would have to be that if we were going to do player admins, the logical thing to do would be to be me and Bird. Because that way we can, hold each other accountable. But then other players, if they run into a problem, would have to be able to reach out to me or Bird to fix. And they could pick which one. Like, for example, if you were an independent, and I think the leaving a small PCU limit for independents is a good idea for people that want to be a rogue. That's totally cool. And if we give independents like 10,000 PCU, while that's not a ton, that's enough to build a pretty good ship and to build a workable base. And so it would be enough to play as a rogue agent in the game. But let's say if you're a rogue and you want and you don't trust Turtistan but you trust Kuroga, then you ask Bird for help. If you don't trust Kuroga but you trust Turtistan, you ask me for help if you run into something. Hector says, Trigger, Cloud is SE admin with years of experience. Maybe you should talk to him, but he would need to play more. I didn't know that. So I've seen Cloud pop into the game every now and then, but I don't even know who he is on YouTube. So next time you see him in the game, Hector, ask him if he's interested in helping to be an admin for the next go-round. Trek Reviewer says, you should make a ranking of the 50 worst episodes in Star Trek. Well, actually, what we're going to end up doing, in all probability, is after we do a top 5 and bottom 5 of each individual series, we'll combine those lists and stack them against each other. Like, which is the worst episodes of all of Trek, not just this series, and kind of come up with a mega list that way. We could open a second server to act as a sandbox world and keep the anti-server for the war. That would be a possibility. Although on this computer, I'm only going to have one server. If somebody else wants to open up a second server for it, that's fine. But this computer is going to just be the war. Nicole, when I get this rig paid off, I might think about a Wii upgrade to it. Second monitor, more memory, second HD, better graphics card. Yeah. I understand that, Nicole. Yeah, I'll tell you. Never have a good enough computer. It's just not possible. Andrew, very true. Not been playing long, but in the few ships I have a lot of pride in when they work. Exactly, and that's the fun of this game. And so I want to make sure that anybody that wants to play can, and you don't have to be in Kurdistan or Kuroga. It just would be beneficial to be in Kurdistan or Kuroga, and I think that's a fair way to do it. And let's see. And the Lincoln died, and Hector said, Kronos, he was shot dead, as I predicted, as soon as Bird announced it was being made. Yeah. Well, we saw it sitting there on the lake, but we weren't sure what it was. And then when Bird talked about the Lincoln, and you could see from the air when I was above it, I was like, holy crap, that thing is armed to the teeth. Let's see. Bradley says, yeah, I don't think that Anti or Bird would be tempted to cheat. They would make great admins. Well, thank you, Bradley, if you're being serious. I appreciate that. Tiki says it's only cheating if you get caught. Well, no. It's cheating regardless of whether you got caught. So what would you suggest someone use to rip moments off DVD using their computer? Mine has a DVD player on it, but not a Blu-ray player. Well, I don't know. I don't rip directly from DVDs. And so, honestly, what I did before, Darren, before the modern digital stuff, is I would purchase the movie and then I would download it from BitTorrent. That's how I would do it. And that way, and by the way, technically speaking, it's perfectly legal to download a BitTorrent movie if you own a copy of that same film. So I would only download movies that I actually already owned. Nowadays, though, with the advent of services like Vudu and stuff, you can buy your movie. Like if you buy it at Walmart, it comes with a free copy on Vudu anyway. And I capture it directly from Vudu. And what I'll do is just like this screen here is that trailer I was looking at that game. And so if I wanted to capture that using the streaming software XSplit, the streaming software that I use, and I can actually, let me move XSplit over so you can kind of see it. So here's XSplit. And right up here, you can see that red word says broadcast. That means we're currently streaming. However, right next to it, you see there's a button that says record. So if I click on record, it'll capture everything on this monitor. And so that's how I tend to grab my video clips from the various movies and stuff, like what you see in my reviews. And Crow says, I was talking about Galaxy Quest. Ah, yes, when Dr. Alex said, oh, it's all about you, isn't it? In Star Trek, do you like kit bash ships? I used to make kit bash ships all the freaking time. So yes. I think that's one of the reasons I like Space Engineers so much, and why I'm interested in like this Impulse Drive mod and the Warp Core mod that Cinnabon was talking about and stuff, because I would love to make it as much like Star Trek as possible. Let's see. Tiki says, comes from an old Kurogan proverb. Well, it's only cheating if you get caught, yeah. Since you shot the SOAB, oh, son of A, I got it. Lincoln, does that mean your booth? No. And Carlos wants to know how Darren's supply of spotted cow is doing. I only drink it seasonally, and that season is now over. I'm sorry, Darren, I think. This is starting to sound like Wes and I are being implicated, and it's as just bad cheater admins. No, not at all, Cinnabon. I said, and that's why I said at the beginning, it's not fair to you guys when both you and Wes, first of all, you guys have done a ton of work and helped us so much, and I truly appreciate everything you guys did. However, it's just, if you want to play the game, but I kept saying, no, don't, because that's not fair, because you guys have superpowers, and it takes the fun out of it for you guys. So, yeah. Nicole says, if only we had a server farm. Yeah, I would love to, but yeah, I can't afford a server farm. I would love to get a nice server system. I mean, the computer that the server is running on is ancient. And so I do think that if I could get a true server system to run this on, we could handle a whole lot more. But honestly, unless everybody wants to start playing Space Engineers, there's no point in that kind of an investment. If you're doing worst and good episodes in all Trek, does that include the animated series? I haven't decided if we're going to do the animated series yet, so I don't know. Hector says he is living in the UK, so I think he has European times of play. Understandable, but that, that shouldn't make. I mean, as far as being an admin, it just means we would have to set up something so that if someone has a problem, they could send them a message somewhere, whether it be an email or a Skype conversation or something, or even a Discord room. He is living, let's see, worst Trek episode, Jetson lady mechanical engineer performs brain surgery and organ transplants because she read a book and body is like machine. Yeah, that was... Don't get me started on that. Jet Reno. Ugh. Joseph says, was it a headshot? Well, there was a huge hole in the front of the ship. Yes. Shormer says, Wilkes, Booth, Crawford. Jerk. Edgar, you're using a computer as a server, right? That's why it's not good enough for everything you want. Well, I know. I would like to get a true server, but I don't have the money to spend on a true server right now. Night Breeze says, Andrew, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. That's I think the Kurogan national motto, isn't it? I don't think any of the admins are doing anything bad. Just that kind of power is very tempting to use it. That's true, Bradley. And there have been a couple of incidents where admins did a couple of things that they shouldn't have. However, and again, I want to stress this. Cinnabon and Wesley Crusher have been incredibly helpful for all of us. They've educated a lot of us noobs in this game, and they are the reason that it's been as fun as it has. So do not think for a minute that I'm trying to say that Cinnabon and or Wesley Crusher are being jerks. They're not. Chrono says, whatever you're doing, keep it up. 50 watchers. Very cool. All 55 now. Very awesome. I don't know why, but welcome. Darren says, got it. Send me a link after the stream. Pretty please with sugar on top. A link for what, Darren? Do you like pancakes, Darren? Okay. Technical says, well, technically it's illegal to download using torrent even if you own a copy, because when you use torrent, you don't just download, you also upload. Well, it's not technically legal to seed on a BitTorrent site, and there are some BitTorrent sites where you can download without seeding. Now, you usually have to pay for that privilege, but there are sites where you can do that. Best STD episodes when Antrekker throws headphones, shattering them. That was a good one, wasn't it? FYI, Spider-Man is out digitally. Very cool. That Spider-Man Far From Home, I presume, and I haven't bought it yet. So, I had a mobile phone once where you can move your hand from side to side on the screen, and it would just take a screenshot. That's cool. John says the Jaeger design was just ridiculous. Not sure what you're talking about there. Dan says, I've seen concepts for that for the TNG episode Pegasus, where the ship was originally to be an ambassador class kit bash. That I think would have looked better. I think using an O-berth was stupid. Kronos says, Andre, Darren is ignoring me because I made a flat joke. Well, that's what you get, Kronos. Jaeger throws $5 in, says, congratulations on your victory over Kuroga. How much money would you consider a bribe? Doing a top 5 for TNG, DS9, Babylon 5. Keep up the fight. Well, Jaeger, you can bribe me any amount you want. Those will come eventually. And in fact, TNG, I'm working on the top 5 for that even as we speak. I want to make sure that I go through every single episode so that I'm not missing something. Wesley says, what did I miss? Not a whole lot, Wes. Tom says, how much do servers cost? Well, that's a good question. Depends on where you get it from, but let me see. So, as far as like, I mean, anywhere from about $300, but that'll probably not handle it, up to about $6,000 on a very quick look, which would be freaking awesome. But yeah, that one is a 16 core. Let's see. Yeah, that's a nice one. But yeah, very expensive. Let's see. Yes, do the top and bottom 5 of the animated series, or top and bottom 3 if there aren't enough episodes. Yeah, that's the thing. I may have to reduce the list a little bit for the animated series because there's so few episodes compared to the other series. I'm still willing to help new players, but timing to get together is hard. Understandable. Charles says, Andrew, could you please do a video ranking all the Mirror Universe episodes from Star Trek? That's actually not a bad idea, Charles. Here's what I'd like you to do. If you have an idea like that, seriously, if you have a really strong idea for a video, and I think that's a good one, send it in an email to tnn@antitrekker.com. That's TNN, as in Turd News Network, @antitrekker.com. That's Mr. Miles' direct inbox, and he is the editor-in-chief. So if he wants that to be the next video he edits, he will send it to me, and that way, because I want to make sure something like that gets the Miles treatment, because Miles is a fantastic editor, as you guys know. Dan says, if you like Star Trek ships and space engineers, you might want to subscribe to the YouTube channel called Foxtrot Delta. I haven't heard of them, but is that what they do? Thomas says, Wesley, you have to be online 24/7. That's kind of mean. And your old computer has 12 threads and lots of RAM is enough server to me. Well, this is an old computer with, I think it has 16 threads and 128 gig of RAM, but it does run painfully slow. So, because it's the computer itself is like 6 years old. Even when you're not seeding, during the process of downloading, you're also uploading. Well, you know what? I haven't been arrested yet, so I will. But nowadays, like I said, with Voodoo, I don't even bother with the BitTorrent because it's unnecessary. And Nightbreeze throws a buck in, and of course, wants the Hypno Turd, which that's going to be a little trickier here. And let's see if we mute that, and hold on, there we go.
All hail the Hypnoturd. The Hypnoturd is love. The Hypnoturd is life. Do you know who didn't respect the Hypnoturd? Kuroga. The Hypnoturd was angry, and Kuroga is no more.
Let's see. Let's see. Yes, Far From Home came out on Tuesday. Very cool. That was definitely, I think, a really, really strong movie. Wesley says, Thomas, is someone going to pay me so I can quit my job? Hey, you know what? When I get enough on this channel, maybe I would hire someone to run a game server. That would be cool. About Kit Patches, the Jaeger was a mashup of an Intrepid Saucer and Maquis Raider. Oh, I remember that one. Yeah, I didn't care for that design. I thought it was ugly. And let's see, the Jaeger class was Kit Bash, the Maquis Raider, and the Intrepid. Yeah, I think it looked like crap. I think Picard should have let the Edo execute Wesley during the episode Justice. I agree. That would have made things much, much better. Thomas has the Jaeger class Eagle Moss. Oh, okay. I didn't know they had it, but yeah. And let's see. Mr. Miles says that's not a bad idea for a video. You talking about the mirror episode one? So yeah, keep that in your storehouse, my friend. And Crow says, oh, please, not computer talk. VR, says Thomas. And then Yosef says, Kronos, SSD, HED, RAM, EVD, STD. Kronos says, need more vocal fry. And then Dan says, message retracted, and Kronos says, later, Dan. So I guess in Dan's retracted message, he's indicated that he was leaving. So if so, Dan, have a good one. Seriously, I don't know if I missed something, but and Kronos says Wesley should just shut up, in my opinion. Well, yeah, you should shut up, Wesley. I like the Jaeger, just not the orange paint on bits of it. Well, I don't. I think it's kind of, the thing is that Federation ships, and this is just my own personal opinion, but Federation ships are supposed to look sleek and smooth. The Jaeger doesn't. And that's actually a problem I have with the Bozeman as well. I don't think Federation ships should have like angular pointy things sticking off of it in different directions and stuff, making it look more like a Star Wars-y kind of ship. That's okay on, like for example, Klingon ships can be a little rougher around the edges than Federations, but the Federation ships are supposed to be sleek looking. That's why I like the Intrepid class. That's a nice Federation ship design. Tom says, on the Foley stream, Kronos said VR scared him. Oh, okay. That's why he said that. Okay. Wesley says, I say everyone hates me. Well, that's what you get for calling yourself Wesley Crusher. Josh said, would a server with a petabyte and $10,680 Xeon 28 cores, along with as much RAM as it could take, be the best for the anti-server? That would probably be freaking awesome, Josh. But unless somebody who happens to be either hip deep in computer components or just filthy rich and wants to get me a server sends one to me, that ain't gonna happen. Yes, we need sexy ships. We do. As far as Federation ships should be sleek, sexy, clean lines, not jagged, not and that's why, like I said, that's why I don't like the Jaeger. If you look at, like the opposite of a Federation ship would be like what you see on Star Wars or Battlestar Galactica, right? Where they're very coarse and rough and angular and things sticking off in every different direction and stuff. Like everything you look at looks like it's some kind of mechanical device attached to the ship. But the, the Federation isn't supposed to look like that. Best kit bash ship is the New Orleans class. I don't remember what that one looked like off the top of my head. Hector says 6-year-old means at least Series 4 Gen i7. That's not much slower than the 7th, 8th Gen. It's an i7X, and I can't remember what the I think it's like the 47 something. Hector says depending on the software used. Well, that's the thing, is that I don't know, I unfortunately, not being an expert on this, is the first server for space engineers I've ever run. I don't know what Torch is capable of it. And Gary says, what happened to the USS Antrigger isn't sleek and sexy? Well, still, I'm working on a redesign of it, Gary. You wait, my friend. Wesley says, when I win the lotto, I will buy you a super server. Well, thank you, my friend. Darren says, the most successful Star Trek kit bash, in my opinion, was the Constellation class. I think the Constellation class does work overall, but I think it should be a little sleeker, a little cleaner. Darth Maul says, at first contact during the Borg battle scene, ILM put the Millennium Falcon as a background ship. They certainly did. It's hard to spot because it's very fuzzy, but yes, you can definitely see it. And Ozzy says, Kronos, I'm watching #Canadian A. Okay. Could be half the speed though. Yeah, I don't think I don't think that this. It'd be interesting to run this server on this computer just to see what we get. Jaeger Russell, is $50 a good bribe? That's not a bad bribe. That's not a bad bribe. That would definitely bump something up on the old priority list. Alcohol is cheaper. Not sure cheaper than what. And let's see, what was that? Okay, that was the... Alright, make sure the... Oh, and that's Mrs. Anti-Trekker. So it looks like I do need to wrap it up because Mrs. Anti-Trekker has something for me to do here. And then I got a lot of work to do today. So I don't know if Midnight's Edge is still here. I was going to ask if I'm going to be on the show tonight, but they didn't say. So I'll have to text them and find out. The Centaur is a kit bash as well. But, actually, honestly, Darren, the best kit bash in Star Trek history is the USS Reliant. To me, that's the single best kit bash that they ever did. The Reliant is a beautiful ship, and it's obviously a kit bash of the Constellation. Of the Constitution of the Constitution class ship. Anyway, I do need to wrap it up because Mrs. Anti-Trekker has something important, and Auntie actually moved. Did you see it? Auntie did move. And so Wesley says, check your mailbox. I will check my mailbox while I'm out, Wesley. I assume that's the mailbox you mean. And so hopefully I will be on Midnight's Edge After Dark tonight. If not, I will still see you guys tomorrow night. And thank you all for being freaking the best. And so take care and have a good one.